Chapter 91 The Top Family. There is no need to exist anymore. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Others might not realize it, but as head of Tianyuan Holy Palace, he understood the power of Kong Wudao deeply. Just trying to figure things out had triggered a terrifying backlash. Even with the heavenly Dao realm offering some protection, it barely mitigated the damage. This proved how terrifying Kong Wudao's origins were, way beyond anything the Tianyuan Holy Palace could handle. More importantly, as a near saint, he sensed powerful presences in the shadows, watching over Kong Wudao. Even though Kong Wudao broke their rules by killing one of their top disciples, the Wang family's eldest daughter, no less, they didn't have the nerve to retaliate. Their rules were a joke to someone like Kong Wudao. Oh. You know Kong? Kong Wudao raised an eyebrow, a slight smile playing on his lips. The head of Tianyuan's heart skipped a beat. Kong, the Kong family. Looking back at history, only one group with the Kong surname had that kind of power. His face paled, and sweat trickled down his forehead. I know a little. But I don't know your exact lineage. Please, enlighten me. He kept his hands clasped, not even daring to look up. At the end of the heavens, there's a time-space restricted zone. We're from there. Even though the head of Tianyuan had suspected as much, confirmation sent a jolt of horror through him. Tianshan Dao realm might be neutral and isolated, but everyone knew the legends of that restricted zone. Ancient texts might say it had lost its power, but it was still way beyond anything Tianyuan Holy Palace could even dream of fighting. Against such a behemoth, they were nothing but dust. Time-space restricted zone. The faces of some disciples from powerful families turned white too. They'd heard the rumors. Sir, the earlier incident was due to a lapse in judgment on our part. Please, don't hold it against us. The head of Tianyuan bowed again, terrified that Kong Wudao would take out his anger on their entire palace. Kong Wudao didn't seem to care, uninterested in dragging it out. Prince Jin had been asking for it, and the Wang family was behind it all, anyway. Soul's Lair. At your command. Ripples appeared, and a powerful 9th-level God King warrior, part of Kong Wudao's security detail, materialized. The head of Tianyuan and others were horrified again. This guy looked like just another 9th-level God King, but he radiated an invisible pressure that made them uneasy. He could probably go toe-to-toe with a saint if he went all out. Prince Jin of the Wang family offended me. He deserved it, Kong Wudao said calmly. As of today, the Wang family in All Saints City ceases to exist. He hadn't interacted with Wang Zijin much, but he knew her actions came from her family. How dare such ants even think of messing with him? They were practically begging for death. Yes, sir. Soul's Lair responded, summoning other warriors hidden in the shadows, and tearing open the void. They headed straight for the Wang family's estate. Everyone watching trembled, their faces even paler. The Wang family was one of the top 4 families in Halloween City, with considerable strength. But now, a single word from this man had sealed their fate. The Wang family, gone. Nalan Xuanhuan felt like she was in a dream. The Wang family had always been the Nalan family's biggest rival, a constant headache. Kong Wudao had just cleared the path for them without even trying. How much power did this man really have? At the same time, at the Wang family compound, how dare they? An enraged roar echoed through the main hall. A middle-aged man in fine robes, eyes bloodshot, screamed, "Who killed my daughter?" Energy crackled around him as he raged. This was Wang Zijin's father, the head of the Wang family. His daughter's soul tablet had just shattered, a sudden and inexplicable death. How is this possible? She was safe at Tianyuan Holy Palace. How could this happen? Damn it! Did someone dare to commit murder in Tianyuan Holy Palace? What are those guys even doing? I'm going to take men to Tianyuan Holy Palace and demand answers. Elders spoke in unison, furious. Then, as if sensing something, their rage froze. Expressions changed to terror. They felt several terrifying presences appearing above them. Before they could react, a voice that seemed to carry the weight of the universe boomed across the sky. The Wang family, guilty of offending my Son of God from the time-space restricted zone, will be punished. Not just the Wangs, but every cultivator in Halloween City heard the voice. They looked up, mouths agape, at the Wang family estate. What? The Wangs offended the Son of God of the time-space restricted zone? That forbidden zone, the legendary taboo. How could they even touch something like that? Look above the Wang estate. Following one cultivator's shout, everyone saw 9 figures radiating terrifying power hanging in the sky, surrounding the Wangs. Without a word, they unleashed their magic boom. Boom. Boom, *9 pillars of divine energy blasted into the sky, their runes weaving together to form a colossal sacred mountain. Today, the Wang family will be destroyed. As the leader spoke, the mountain crashed down like a meteor. The Wang family patriarch was powerful, but against this force, he was just an ant before a god. Their attempts at resistance were pathetic. Spare us. We never meant to offend you. Please, forgive us. Their desperate cries were cut short. The mountain landed with earth-shattering force, a cataclysmic energy storm obliterating everything. When the dust settled, the entire Wang family, every single member, had been wiped from existence, swallowed by the void. The Wang family, one of the 4 pillars of Halloween City, was gone. What just happened? On the side, Li Shenhuo felt like she was in a dream. The Wang family had always been the Li family's biggest rival, a constant headache. Kong Wudao had just cleared the path for them without even trying. How much power did this man really have? Chapter 92, Altar of Heaven, Visions of Heaven and Earth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After all that, the powerful figures from the restricted zone vanished into thin air. The onlookers from Halloween City were stunned, unable to process what they just witnessed. Just like that, gone, the Wang family, a pillar of Halloween City, had been wiped out so suddenly. Even the Wang family members themselves hadn't grasped why they were being slaughtered. A stunned silence hung over the city for a good 10 breaths before an uproar erupted. Did the Wang family just get erased? What did they even do to deserve that? Damn, the power those guys were throwing around felt like it was at least Holy Realm level, right? Someone piped up, where's the City Lord's mansion in all this? Are they really going to let outsiders brawl in All Saints City without doing anything? Seriously? Haven't you heard? Every major power from every corner of the cosmos is swarming into Tianshan domain. Sure, we've got special laws protecting us from Holy Realm and higher beings, but the whole domain is in chaos. If the City Lord's mansion tried to mess with that kind of power, they'd be annihilated. That shut everyone up real quick. Tianshan domain was the runt of the litter when it came to Daoist heritage, mainly because the Emperor of Heaven's laws kept anyone stronger than the Holy Realm out. Other domains didn't have those restrictions, and they'd spent countless years building up their power. Meanwhile, other big shots hiding in the shadows were whispering amongst themselves about what had just happened. Those restricted zone guys are ruthless. They haven't even been in Tianshan domain that long, and they're already wiping out established Daoist lineages. Pfft. The Wang family's strongest member was only at the 9th level of the God King realm. Even our weakest guys could have stomped them. What's the big deal? Yeah, but don't forget there are plenty of other immortal realms moving into Tianshan too, and they aren't pushovers like that restricted space, so watch your back. Over at Xuanhuan Holy Palace, Jianyu was practically fawning over Kong Wudao ever since he found out he was the son of God from the restricted zone. He was practically tripping over himself to explain the lay of the land at Xuanhuan Holy Palace. Li Shenhuo, trailing behind them, was completely out of it. The news about the Wang family's destruction had hit her hard. Even though she'd expected it, she hadn't imagined it would happen so fast. From the moment the restricted zone guys showed up to the Wang family's demise was barely the time it takes to burn half a stick of incense. Shocked, Li Shenhuo glanced at Kong Wudao, a strange thought creeping into her head. This guy is head and shoulders better than that loser I'm engaged to. Even having 10% of the Wudao son's talent is better than Mu Hao could dream of. That engagement would be a blessing for me and the Nalan family. Too bad. Nalan Chiron scoffed at herself. Her fiancé was a recognized waste, so how could he be compared to Kong Wudao? Meanwhile, deep in the mountains behind Tianyuan Holy Palace, Yao Xian had found a hidden valley. He felt a weird sensation, like something had been added to the top of his head. Shrugging it off, Yao Xian pushed deeper into the valley. Mist swirled everywhere, and a faint power of heaven and earth pulsed in the air. At the heart of the valley stood an altar, overgrown with weeds. The ancient carvings on it hinted at its immense age. Found it. It's really here. Yao Xian exclaimed. This broken ancient altar was the Tiandao altar, a relic from when creatures in the Tianshao domain could communicate with the heavenly Dao, but activating the Tiandao altar required sacrificing countless rare treasures and massive amounts of resources, and even then, there was no guarantee of success. Over time, the Tiandao altars in the major holy palaces of Tianshao domain were forgotten and abandoned. Yao Xian, however, had a special bloodline, possessing 9 colors of heavenly blood. Even without the altar, he could connect with the heavenly Dao through his bloodline, but since he'd just been reborn, and Mu Hao's body was so weak, he needed to use the heavenly Dao altar to contact the heavenly Dao of Tianshao domain in advance to smooth things out for the future. After all these years, I bet Sister Tianshao misses me too, right? That the Sister Tianshao he mentioned was the embodiment of the heavenly Dao in the Tianshao domain. She had been indispensable in making him the destined emperor of all heavens and realms. Yao Xian wasted no time. A drop of 9-colored heavenly blood, radiating boundless charm, flew from his palm and landed on the altar of heaven. The moment the blood touched the altar, the ancient carvings, silent for eons, lit up with dazzling light, spewing out countless bright runes. Boom! The silent back mountain of Tianyuan exploded with a deafening roar. A blazing pillar of divine light shot into the sky, bathing the clouds in a golden glow. Even more shocking was the vast force of heaven that seemed to awaken deep within the clouds. Not only were the monks in Halloween City drawn to the scene, but countless creatures from the Tianshao domain and other visiting geniuses raised their eyes to the strange occurrence. Even ancient powerhouses in the Tianshao domain stirred from their slumber. They stared at the golden light, murmuring in disbelief, this aura. After all these years, someone has activated the heavenly Dao altar, trying to contact the heavenly Dao. Inside the Tianyuan Holy Palace, disciples who felt the overwhelming aura firsthand were petrified with fear. A brilliant power descended from the sky, making it hard to breathe. Nalan Chiron's face was ashen. Only when Kong Wudao released a ray of aura to counter the pressure did her pale complexion improve. Thank you. Thank you, son of God Wu Dao. Nalan Chiron gratefully thanked Kong Wudao. At the same time, she was amazed. How strong was the Wudao son of God? He effortlessly cancelled out the oppressive force of the heavens. Kong Wudao remained silent, his eyes narrowed as he looked at the back mountain of Tianyuan Holy Palace. That aura, it feels like the power of heaven. A thought crossed his mind. Could this be caused by the so-called destiny anomaly? Just then, a Tianyuan Holy Palace disciple spoke cautiously. Palace Master, not long ago, I saw that kid Mu Hao sneaking into the back mountain. Chapter 94. It seems that you are quite confident in yourself. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kong Wudao's eyebrows shot up. This guy's only in the cave void realm, but he's claiming he can connect with the heavens. That definitely piqued his interest. Bullshit. The altar's busted. How dare you spout such nonsense? Master Tianyu roared. The heavenly Dao hasn't stirred in ages. And you, a loser, claims you're in touch with it. That snapped the other holy palace elders out of their daze. Wait a minute. Isn't this Mu Hao the biggest disappointment our Tianyuan Holy Palace has ever seen? How could someone like him connect with the heavenly Dao? They figured shaking immortal activating the altar earlier was just a fluke, nothing more. Palace Master, Mu Hao must be using some kind of dark magic that just happened to resonate with the altar. Lock him up and torture him, I say. Another elder jumped at the chance to suck up to Kong Wudao. He even called our guest from the holy palace a wild man. He deserves punishment. Yeah, strip him of his powers, torture him, and let him atone for offending the Son of God. Hearing the barrage of insults, Yao Xian's face darkened. He knew they'd seen the vision when he activated the altar, and he practically declared he was connected to the heavenly Dao. He'd assumed they'd be terrified, treat him like royalty, and the whole palace would bow down to him. So why was everything going so wrong? These blind fools were tripping over themselves to please this guy in white. Just then, he felt a unique aura, something only he could sense, descend from the void and merge into his body. His irritation melted away. He'd felt the heavenly Dao respond from the sky Dao realm. Heaven itself is protecting me. A smirk crept across his face. Confidence surged. Ha! You'd really side with an outsider? Are you trying to offend me? Offend the law of heaven itself? That stopped everyone in their tracks. They exchanged bewildered glances. Is he out of his mind? Attacking him is an offense against heaven? Even now, you're still spouting nonsense. Why don't you just surrender and beg for Wu Dao God's son's forgiveness? The great elder of the holy palace made the first move. Runes flickered on his palms as terrifying energy crackled to life, aimed straight at shaking immortal. Boom. A dull rumble echoed through the air. Thousands of runes twisted into chains of lightning, ready to crush Mu Hao. As the great elder, only Master Tianyu surpassed him in strength. Yao Xian was just in the cave void realm. The difference in power was vast. This would be a piece of cake. The other elders cursed under their breaths. We should have kept our mouths shut and just attacked. Now the great elder's stolen the show. Bring it on. Yao Xian grinned, his eyes filled with contempt. He didn't even try to dodge. He simply channeled his power and met the attack head-on. Mu Hao, that good for nothing. Does he have any idea what he's doing? He's going to take the great elder's attack head-on. He's practically begging for death. Other elders sneered. The great elders at the 9th level of the God-King realm. Mu Hao's barely in the cave void realm. It's not even a contest. I hope the great elder shows some mercy. It wouldn't do to accidentally kill him. Then how would he apologize for insulting the Son of God? Boom. Runes blazed, thunder roared, two monstrous forces collided, erupting in blinding light. The resulting shockwave even made the watching elders stumble. As the light faded and the smoke cleared, everyone stared in disbelief. Mu Hao hadn't been crushed. Instead, he stood there like a young god, calm, confident, and strong. What? Mu Hao blocked the great elder's attack. It was beyond comprehension. Nalan Shiran was stunned. She knew exactly how weak her fiancé was. He couldn't even beat ordinary outer disciples, let alone elders. Now, he'd shrugged off the great elder's attack like it was nothing. Is this really the same Mu Hao everyone calls a useless son-in-law? How is this possible? You're only in the Dongxiu realm. How could you block me? The great elder was shaken to his core. He was the second strongest in the palace. He was confident in his power, but he couldn't even land a single hit on someone realms below him. Has he been hiding his true strength all along? Was he just pretending to be weak? Of course, there was one person who wasn't surprised in the slightest. Kong Wudao had been expecting it. This guy wasn't just a man of destiny. He was a reborn emperor. Fighting opponents several levels above him was practically his thing, and the more outrageous he was, the more entertaining it would be for him. Kong Wudao chuckled and shook his head, then he stepped forward, hands clasped behind his back. Looks like you're pretty confident in your strength, huh? Chapter 95. The ignorant are fearless and run away in embarrassment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yao Xian stopped short at the sound, head snapping up, his gaze locked with Kong Wudao's, cold and detached. A flicker of something unsettling crossed his usually self-assured eyes. Kong Wudao's eyes were like bottomless pits, dark and indifferent. Gazing into the abyss. He thought, and it gazes back. The thought stung, bringing a wave of shame. He was the emperor of destiny in a past life. He'd stood at the very top of the food chain. No matter how impressive Kong Wudao was, he was just a greenhorn, not yet an emperor in his own right. There was no comparison. Knock yourself out, Yao Xian said, his tone icy. How dare you? Kong Jianyue's face darkened. He was ready to shut down this disrespectful punk, but the great elder of the Holy Palace and Master Tianyu beat him to it. "Leave this to us, son of God." The great elder looked frustrated, eager to put Yao Xian in his place. He hadn't been able to subdue him in front of everyone, especially Kong Wudao, and that was embarrassing, but Kong Wudao just brushed past them. "No need," he said casually, "consider it a favor." Yao Xian's face went rigid. He felt a fresh wave of humiliation. Was Kong Wudao treating him like a plaything? "Is your confidence just blissful ignorance?" Kong Wudao asked. "Or are you riding high on that freak miracle you just pulled off?" Master Tianyu was stunned. "A miracle? Only the Holy Palace lords of Tianshan realm qualified for that kind of boost. How could Mu Hao, a nobody disciple, get that kind of protection?" Was what Kong Wudao said earlier even true? Before he could process it, boom, a wave of raw power slammed into them, centered on Kong Wudao. It surged outward like a tsunami, the air crackled with runes, a terrifying hurricane of energy. The laws of the universe screamed. Everyone felt a jolt of primal fear deep in their bones. Even Master Tianyu recoiled, his body shaking. "Is this, the son of God's power?" he whispered. The sheer force of Kong Wudao's aura dwarfed anything he'd seen from younger cultivators. At full throttle, he'd be lucky to hold his own. Crack, crack, crack. Yao Xian, at the heart of it all, felt the brunt of the force. Even with his miracle boost, his face twisted in pain, his bones creaked. The humiliation was crushing him, the force driving him to his knees. The divine protection, his ace in the hole, was basically useless. How can he be this strong? Yao Xian gritted his teeth, barely lifting his head. Kong Wudao loomed over him, a god looking down on mortals, and in his eyes, Yao Xian saw nothing but contempt. Showing off. Everybody does it these days. Kong Wudao's face was a mask, cold and unreadable, but inside, he was laughing. If he hadn't shown up, Yao Xian would have pulled off his little charade. He would have wowed the Tianyuan Holy Palace. He'd have his fiancée eating out of his hand. His career would have taken off. Too bad for him. He was just a target ripe for the picking. The silence was heavy. Yao Xian, who'd been so arrogant, was now a dog on a leash, unable to fight back. He could only grit his teeth and brace himself against the crushing force. Li Shenhuo was in shock. Mu Hao, the man she knew, had suddenly become someone else entirely. Kong Wudao's power was even more staggering. She knew he was strong, but this strong? He was on par with their palace master. Ding! Heroine Li Shenhuo's mind blown by her master's strength. Taming level increased by 22%. 1,600 destiny points deducted, leaving 4,600. Congratulations! Triple crit. You gain 4,800 destiny points. Taming level, 30%. As the shock wore off, Li Shenhuo looked like she wanted to say something, but hesitated. Mu Hao was her fiancé, but she was her master's fiancé. She couldn't stand by and watch him get crushed. But Kong Wudao's status was off the charts. If she crossed him by defending Mu Hao, she'd pay for it dearly. As Li Shenhuo wrestled with her conscience, Yao Xian's voice cut through the air. "Knock it off, Li Shenhuo. Stop putting on a show." That he was the Emperor of Destiny in his past life. He knew people. He could read Li Shenhuo like a book. Her act didn't move him, it just pissed him off. His own fiancé, simpering after another man. Now she was watching him get taken down by her crush and trying to look concerned. Was she trying to humiliate him? Li Shenhuo. I always knew you looked down on me. But someday, you'll regret this. That once he had his destiny in hand and became emperor, that he could have any woman he wanted, he'd be doing her a favor. Mu Hao, you. Li Shenhuo was stunned. She hadn't spent much time with her fiancé, but she could feel that something was different about him. It was unnerving. Having spat out his piece, Yao Xian knew he was outmatched. Dragging this out would be a mistake. Light erupted from his skin. The invisible power of the heavens seemed to respond, flowing toward him like a river of stars. The light formed a magic circle at his feet. Careful! He's got a trump card. Master Tianyu and the Holy Palace elders shouted, moving to stop him, but the moment they moved, the starlight flared. Yao Xian vanished. The little punk. He got away. that the Tianyuan Holy Palace went ballistic, scouring the area, but Yao Xian was gone without a trace. Damn it! He's good. Don't worry, son of God. We'll tear this place apart until we find him. Master Tianyu gritted his teeth and sent orders to hunt down Yao Xian. Chapter 96, Becoming a Qualified Treasure Hunter is within your control. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Compared to everyone else's freakout, Kong Wudao stayed ice-cold. Escape from him? Please, he'd let the guy run on purpose. Yao Xian was just reborn, his cultivation was so weak, he was basically an ant, squashing him right away would be boring, plus, the dude was loaded with destiny points, he'd be running into opportunities left and right, and Kong Wudao sensed another big-time power within Yao Xian, something tied to the heavenly Dao of the Tianshan domain. Snagging that would be a major win. Yao Xian wasn't going anywhere without Kong Wudao knowing about it. The dude had begged the system for a lifeline. After all, Kong Wudao had slapped a soul mark on him, one he could always track. Whatever Yao Xian saw, whatever he did, Kong Wudao would be right there with him in spirit. Ding. Destiny-shaking fairy takes a beating from his master, losing 3,000 destiny points. Remaining, 21,500. Critical hit. Gained 6,000 destiny points. Kong Wudao chuckled. The guy couldn't ditch his old arrogance, still thought he was some chosen emperor, calling the shots, didn't realize he was just a bug, being played. Yao Xian, time to put that treasure-sniffing nose of yours to work. Don't let me down. Kong Wudao looked out to the horizon, rules and runes flickered in his eyes, piercing through the miles between them, miles away, in a mountain forest near Halloween City. Ugh. Yao Xian, who'd overdrawn on heaven's power, ate some serious backlash. He spat out a mouthful of blood, his face went white, but his eyes burned with murder. Damn Tianyuan Holy Palace. And that punk. I'm gonna tear you to shreds. Yao Xian roared like an animal. He'd just been reborn. Sure, he had his memories and skills, which gave him a bit of a boost, but he was still light years away from leveling up to the virtual god realm or even god king. And borrowing that power had cleaned him out. He'd wasted all the Li power he'd been saving, plus some of his core essence. Damage that wouldn't easily heal. The plan was to hook myself up to heaven and control the Tianyuan Holy Palace. That bastard screwed it all up, that he cursed. He'd lost big, losing his core essence shook his foundation to the core. He was supposed to be the Emperor of Destiny. How could he rise now that his path was so rocky? Whatever. As long as I get the 9-color heavenly blood, I can still connect with heaven. Yao Xian took a breath and stumbled to his feet. And I have my memories. I can still climb back to the top. So, the Tianyuan Holy Palace slipped through my fingers. Big deal. There are other holy palaces. I'll snatch those up easy. Then the Tianshan domain will be mine, and I'll get the Taiku Dao brand. After growling, Yao Xian held his chest and struggled to stand. He decided to hit up the nearest holy palace and find his next chance. What he didn't know was, a faint mark glowed on the back of his neck. Everything he just said was being broadcast loud and clear to the damned emptiness he'd just insulted. Back at the Tianyuan Holy Palace, Kong Wudao smirked. 9-color heavenly blood? That's your big advantage. Hope you can give me a good show with it. Kong Wudao was amused. Yao Xian was his first treasure hound. He hoped the guy would find something and not disappoint him. Master Wudao God's son. Nalan Churan walked up to Kong Wudao. She bowed deeply. Mu Hao was way out of line. I apologize. Even though she was disgusted by Mu Hao's behavior, she was still technically engaged to him. His actions reflected on her family, so she had to step in and make amends to Kong Wudao. Kong Wudao smiled. He knew exactly what she was thinking. Miss Nalan, you don't need to worry about this. It's not on you. Besides, the fiancé you're talking about isn't really your fiancé anymore. Nalan Churan froze. Not her fiancé anymore. What was that supposed to mean? Thinking back on Mu Hao's recent actions. Could it be, that her eyes narrowed, she realized, her fiancé would never pull such a stunt. And he definitely couldn't have survived the Great Elder's attack. Unless Mu Hao had been taken over. That explained everything. But it also scared her half to death. She remembered the look in Mu Hao's eyes as he ran. If he'd been possessed, would he come back for revenge against her family? Don't worry, your family has ties to my time and space restricted area. Kong Wudao said, I won't let anything happen to you. And if you want to break off the engagement, I'll take care of it. Li Shenhuo looked up at Kong Wudao, filled with gratitude. His words erased all her worries. He was the son of the innocent god from the restricted zone. He could move mountains. Now that he was involved, everything would be fine. Thank you, godson Wu Dao. I'm so grateful, ding. Li Shenhuo is grateful. Taming level increased by 40%. 3,000 destiny points deducted from her, leaving 1,600. Critical hit. Gained 6,000 destiny points. Taming level, 70%. Kong Wudao smiled. The degree of her taming was unexpected. She was already a vassal of the restricted area, and he was granting her a personal favor. The next time he met Shaking Fairy, he would add the guy's fiancée to his collection. Chapter 97. There is movement from all sides, and they plan to hold a banquet for the pride. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In Tianshan Dao realm, the last few days have been a non-stop collision of forces, and the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Geniuses from every corner of the world are pouring into Tianshan Dao realm, and their raw power is turning heads everywhere. While Tianshan Dao realm has its share of talented individuals, it's still outmatched by the ancient, powerful lineages from other realms. You hear about the constant skirmishes in the western desert. Word is, the sun itself has been falling out there. They say it's the work of Yang, a Golden Crow mountain prodigy from beyond. This Yang kid is supposed to have Golden Crow blood in him, with the power to burn the sky and boil the sea. No way. The western desert has 5 kingdoms and a ton of strong folks. Can't they just kick him out? Ha! Apparently, those big shots are like ants to him. Nobody can touch him. And this nun who dropped into Bei Shaohai can walk through enemy territory like it's her backyard. She's a master of some kind of worldly power, and she's been saving countless people. I heard that the Baiming sect and Wu Mountain have practically become her subsidiaries. Don't forget the terror out in the 100,000 mountains. A few days ago, sword energy shot straight into the sky, crushing every sword cultivator in the west. They're saying it's a swordsman from some place called Ju Tian Sword Sect. Man, the rumors are insane. These gods, Taoists, swordsmen, it's wild out here. These rumors are spreading like wildfire through Tianshan Dao realm, and the native creatures are starting to panic. They always thought their local prodigies could hold their own against anyone. Now it looks like those local heroes are just ants compared to these other realm powerhouses. Looks like their chances are slim to none, if they want to make a name for themselves. Of course, these events were also reaching Kong Wudao's ears. Looks like everyone's here, Kong Wudao said with a playful smile. Having heard the rumors, Yao Xian might be a chosen one with skills that are off the charts, but he wasn't that much fun. All these top-tier geniuses from other realms showing up, now that's entertainment. Lord Son of God, should we do something? Kong Xianyang asked. These monsters from other realms are making a play for power, hoping to make a name for themselves in Tianshao realm and show off their power. They're muscling in on the local forces, trying to find clues about the Taiku Avenue imprint. And there have been some whispers about you in Tianshao Dao realm. The recent influx of these world-class monsters has been the hot topic among the monks. Someone even made a power ranking based on recent events. Yang from Golden Crow Mountain is on top. He has Golden Crow blood, turning him into a blazing sun when he goes all out. He can burn everything to ashes with a snap of his fingers. Xiaoyao Jianzi of Ju Tian Sword Sect is second, with 4-5 elements Xuanhuan sword bones. He can wield the 5 elements of sword energy, turning into a destructive sword frenzy that obliterates everything. The others are strong in their own right. Anyone on this list is a force to be reckoned with. As for the time and space forbidden zone, they haven't shown their true strength. Even the Wang family, who destroyed Halloween City, needed their protectors to step in, a lot of people think the time and space forbidden zone is all talk, the factions that hate them have been trash-talking non-stop. Kong Xianyang and the other princes and princesses are furious at all this, they want to put these guys in their place. Ranking list, huh? Kong Wudao gave a cold smile, he thinks that ranking list is pathetic, his priority is Yao Xian, but he's not going to stand around while these guys run wild. Xianyang, I need you to do something. These guys want a show, so let's give them one, Kong Wudao said, a playful grin spreading across his face. The next day, news spread like wildfire across Tianshan realm. The Son of Time Forbidden Zone is throwing a 3-day feast. You have to meet certain requirements to attend. First, you need to be at least at the Dao Palace level. The higher, the better. Second, you need to be 28 or younger. No restrictions on status or gender. If you're good enough, the Time and Space Forbidden Zone might pick you to be a servant. The news shocked everyone, from the outside geniuses to the locals. The Son of God wants to throw a party. What is he doing? Everyone else is trying to find traces of the Taiku Dao imprint, and he's just throwing a party. But some geniuses saw the hidden meaning in this news. Something's up. The requirements are too high, right? You need to be at Dao Palace level and under 28. Only top geniuses can do that. And the Time and Space Forbidden Zone wants to pick maids and servants. These are the best of the best, and Kong Wudao wants to make them his servants. Many monks think Kong Wudao has another agenda, he wants to use the party as an excuse to crush the evil geniuses in Tianshan Dao realm, and that's exactly what he's doing. Kong Wudao set these requirements to lure the top monsters to come, he's basically saying, if you're good enough, you can be my maid or servant. These guys are from the top lineages. How can they stand being labeled as servants? They'll come running. As for maids and servants, he doesn't need them, he just wants to find a few good candidates for Kong Jiangyue, Kong Xianyang, and the others. Chapter 98 All parties are flocking to it, 9 Li Shenhuo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The news about Kong Wudao threw the entire Tianshan domain into an uproar, the heirs of other top-tier sects were especially furious. Kong Wudao's got some nerve. He's using this whole thing to subtly insult us. Kong Wudao, huh? A forbidden godchild who's been napping for millions of years thinks he can openly challenge us. Many of the most promising young cultivators were already gearing up, ready to head to this so-called appointment. Of course, there were plenty of local geniuses in the Tianshan domain who were excited, seeing this as a golden opportunity. After all, the conditions were clear. No restrictions based on status. That meant anyone who met the requirements had a shot at becoming a maid in the time and space restricted area. Compared to the heavenly domain and the myriad domains, the Tianshan domain was a speck in the ocean. Some would even say it was a desolate backwater, stuck in a place like the Tianshan domain, held back by its unique laws. You'd never get anywhere. Better to take a chance with Kong Wudao. If they impressed the time and space restricted area, they'd be set for life. Meanwhile, in the eastern wasteland of the Tianshan domain, in Donghao City was one of the 4 largest cities in the Tianshan domain, several times the size of Wanqing City. It was also home to a sacred palace, the Xuanhuan Holy Palace. Among the countless sacred palaces in the Tianshan domain, it ranked near the top in overall strength. Inside the Xuanhuan Holy Palace, a man and a woman strolled along a bluestone path. The man, dressed in blue with black hair, was tall, handsome, and had an air of confidence. Next to him, a petite girl with delicate features hurried along, saying softly, "Brother Xianyao, I heard the Son of God from the time and space restricted area is hosting a banquet. I'd love to try to go." The young man stopped in his tracks, turning around. He looked displeased and said, "Wanner, you want to be a maid for those rich kids? You possess the legendary azure sun-bird physique. Your potential is limitless. With my help, you're guaranteed to leave this world someday. Becoming someone's maid would ruin your future." That the brother Xianyao the girl spoke of was none other than him, Yao Xian, in disguise. The porcelain doll-like girl beside him was Li Shenhuo, the granddaughter of the Xuanhuan Holy Palace master. A few days ago, Yao Xian had been badly hurt by Kong Wudao.
he'd decided to seek refuge at the nearest holy palace, the Dushuan Holy Palace. Perhaps it was fate, or just sheer luck. Yao Xian's luck was off the charts. He'd barely reached the outskirts of Donghao City when he ran into Li Shenhuo and her grandfather, the Dushuan Palace Master. The Palace Master had been exposed to a strange poison and was on death's door. Yao Xian stepped in, using his memories as Emperor Tianming to easily purify the poison. With a single glance, he'd recognized Li Shenhuo's unique physique. Even composing an exercise routine tailored to her, such incredible skill, combined with his remarkable demeanor, his every move exuded a composure far beyond his apparent age. The palace master had taken him for a reclusive master who had chosen to live among the common folk. Since then, Yao Xian had become a guest of honor at the Dushuan Holy Palace, showered with resources and training. "Oh, Brother Yao. I heard from people in the palace that this son of God from the time and space restricted area is someone special. That he has a terrifying background." Li Shenhuo whispered, "If I'm lucky enough to become his maid, I'd definitely." "Enough." Yao Xian cut her off, his anger flaring. He'd learned Kong Wudao's identity, and it only fueled his rage. This guy had ruined his plans, and stole his fiancée. Made him lose his Dao foundation. Now, he'd finally found a girl who admired him, and she wanted to become Kong Wudao's maid. In his past life, he was respected by everyone, with countless beautiful women vying for his attention. He'd never been humiliated like this. His murderous intent toward Kong Wudao surged. "Brother Xianyao." Li Shenhuo was startled. She'd never seen the kind and gentle Yao Xian look so hateful. Yao Xian quickly regained his composure. Smiling softly, he gently stroked Li Shenhuo's head. "Xuanhuan, I'm sorry I lost my temper. It's just that you're so talented and strong. I don't want to see you make a mistake, so I got a little anxious." Although he seemed calm, anxiety was eating at him. "I need to contact Sister Tianshan as soon as possible. Otherwise, Kong Wudao will not only ruin my plans, but become the biggest obstacle to my rise in this life." Meanwhile, back in the palace, Kong Wudao stopped monitoring Yao Xian. A playful smile played on his lips. "This Yao Xian really is blessed by fate. His luck is unreal. How long has it been? He's already playing out a classic underdog to overlord story." But he wasn't planning on visiting the Dushuan Holy Palace. He'd give Yao Xian more time to develop. He needed him to reach his full potential as a treasure hunter, right? More importantly, he had something else to do. In the few days since arriving in the Tianshan domain, he'd accumulated 10 celestial hunts. Might as well give it a go. As Kong Wudao focused his thoughts, the system's voice echoed in his mind. "Initiating celestial hunt. Celestial hunt successful. Congratulations to the owner for obtaining Void Avenue Fragments *996. Ice Avenue Fragments *869. Power Avenue Fragments *1132. Heaven and Earth Spiritual Liquid *10 drops. Ancient Kun Egg *4. Jolie Divine Fire Seed." After collecting a bunch of Avenue Fragments and the usual ancient eggs, Kong Wudao's eyes locked onto the Jolie Divine Fire Seed. Jolie Divine Fire Seed, inactive, the first fire born at the dawn of time and space. The progenitor of all fires in the world. Also known as the source of all fires, mastering the Jolie Divine Fire grants dominion over all flames. P.S. Traffic is non-existent, and income has plummeted. If you can, please recommend suitable books to the author. I'm desperate here. Thank you. Chapter 99, Tempering the Divine Fire, Signs of Coming from All Sides. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Control all the fire in the world. Kong Wudao was taken aback. According to the system's details, this sliver of Jolie fire dated way back. It even reached into the legendary ancient times. Just the power to control all fire was a huge deal. But what does activate even mean? Kong Wudao kept digging through the Jolie Divine Fire's description. After a minute, after really going over every detail, it clicked. Okay, I get it. To activate the Jolie Divine Fire Seed, you gotta temper it with a spark of divine fire. That's where Kong Wudao hit a wall. Stuck here in the Tianshan Dao domain, he couldn't just pop over to the time-space restricted areas vault. So,
where was he supposed to find divine fire? As he pondered, an idea flashed in his head. Wait a sec. Isn't that bald bird up on Golden Crow Mountain supposed to have some golden crow blood? Golden crows were legendary beasts, after all, they also had the whole control all fire thing going on, and were practically born with the power to boss around divine fire. If he could figure out a way to squeeze some blood out of that Golden Crow Mountain buzzard, he should be able to use it to temper the Jolly divine fire seed, right? He hadn't given that plucked chicken a second thought before. Looks like he was stuck dealing with it whether he liked it or not. The Tianshan Dao domain had been buzzing for days. Every minute, a streak of light zipped across the sky, flying boats clogged the air, and treasure ships muscled their way through. Any cultivator who fit the bill was headed for Halloween City, and of course, plenty of big shots from other Dao lineages were coming along for the ride. Suddenly, the area around Halloween City was jam-packed. Jaw-dropping news kept breaking, echoing throughout the whole Tianshan Dao domain. Isn't that shimmering ice boat Fairy Menghua's ride? Fairy Menghua, the Lioli Holy Palace's saint. Word is, she's drop-dead gorgeous, the reigning queen of beauty, and everyone agrees she's the hottest thing in the Tianshan Dao domain. Even the top lady from the Tianshan Merchant Alliance is here. Xuanhuan family's young master, and Beihai Holy Palace, and even Tianshan Holy Palace, the #1 overall, are showing up. Isn't that a bit much? These are all heavy hitters in the Tianshan Dao domain. Their heirs are top tier. Looks like they're all going to be maids and servants for the Wu Dao god's son. Dude. Every dream girl I've ever had is here. No way. I don't believe it. Gasps, sighs, shocked shouts, you name it, they were yelling it. For the last 2 days, Kong Wudao was the only thing anyone in the Tianshan Dao domain was talking about, and this was just the beginning. More and more heirs from holy palaces and noble families were setting off for Halloween City. Even the rubberneckers from other realms were showing up to see the train wreck. Skyfire City and Skyfire Holy Palace were thousands of miles from Halloween City. Inside a stunning hall, a woman in fancy robes had a look of pure resolve. Lear, are you sure about this? In front of her, a beautiful, mature woman frowned. She sounded pretty bummed when she said, I've already looked into this Wu Dao god's son. Even if you go to the Halloween City banquet, there's no guarantee you'll get picked as a maid in the time-space restricted area. The mature woman looked helpless and sad. The woman in front of her was Mu Qingli, the saint of the Heavenly Fire Holy Palace. Not only had she watched Mu Qingli grow up, but she knew her talent was out of this world. She was the most gifted genius she'd seen since the Heavenly Fire Holy Palace was founded. Too bad she had this ancient Suzaku blood in her. Recently, she'd caught the eye of the Golden Crow Mountain's Yenyang god's son. Yenyang god's son had already made his announcement. They had exactly 4 days to prep the Heavenly Fire Holy Palace. After 4 days, if the Heavenly Fire Holy Palace didn't send Mu Qingli over, they were toast. The Golden Crow Mountain was one of the biggest demon clans out there. It had been around for ages and was seriously powerful. There was no way their Heavenly Fire Holy Palace could even compare. Yenyang god's son wanted Mu Qingli. All he cared about was the ancient Suzaku blood in her. If the Heavenly Fire Holy Palace handed her over, Mu Qingli would just have her ancient Suzaku blood drained and die. After all, Mu Qingli was human, Yenyang god's son was demon all the way. She was doomed if she fell into his hands. Mu Qingli said firmly, Palace Master, I don't have a choice here. We humans and demons already hate each other. If this blood of mine helps the enemy, I'd rather die. Besides, if I get lucky and the time-space restricted area picks me as a maid, it'll solve this problem, and it'll be a huge opportunity for me. The Heavenly Fire Palace Lord sighed and didn't say anything. She had a point. To get out of this mess, their only shot was to crash the party and hope for the best. Boom. 2 days flew by. The sky above Halloween City was choked with flying boats and chariots. Big shots were showing up left and right, but they weren't going into Halloween City. They were hanging out on the outskirts. They stared in awe. The city, dazzling and huge, was standing tall. This city was empty and hollow, and built from the treasure that had been hunted from the heavens. It didn't do anything special. It just fit millions of people, but it was still enough to make the cultivators sweat and quietly freak out. That's a son of God from the time-space restricted area for you. He can snap his fingers and build a city like that. As more people arrived, cultivators kept losing their minds and shouting crazy stuff. Holy crap! The Tianhe Holy Palace Lord, the Northern Overlord, is here with his crew. The Guanyu Holy Palace sent a ton of people. I heard those guys are famously stuck up. Are they really going to be the Wu Dao godson's maids and servants now? Damn! Even the hidden dancer sent someone. That the expressions on all those cultivators who'd come so far couldn't hide their shock. They figured most of the people showing up were the usual holy palaces and top noble families, but they never expected this. This whole thing had stirred up a bunch of hidden clans. It blew their minds. They had a better idea of just how important Kong Wudao was. The weight of this legendary Forbidden Zone god's son was probably way more than they thought. Chapter 100. Suddenly I have a realization, 2 choices, continue to wait or get out. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Word had barely gotten out from Jian Kong Wudao, and already half the geniuses from Tianshan domain were scrambling to get here. Even some of the top dogs from other realms looked a little put out. They didn't exactly run in the same circles, so they really didn't know what this guy was capable of. A lot of these arrogant young hotshots figured Kong Wudao was only getting this kind of reaction because of who he knew and the hype around the time and space restricted area. Suddenly, a piercing screech ripped through the sky. Everyone looked up and saw faint red flame streaking across the horizon, heading straight for them. That's... One sharp-eyed monk shouted, "It's a heavenly fire spirit bird from the heavenly fire holy palace." No sooner had he yelled it out than a huge red bird, wreathed in flames and with a wingspan of at least 20 feet, descended from above. It looked like a rosefinch, every feather ablaze, a real sight to see. Isn't the heavenly fire spirit bird supposed to be the ride of Mu Qingli, the saintess of the heavenly fire holy palace? Mu Qingli's here too. I heard the Golden Crow Mountain's Yenyang divine son was demanding the heavenly fire holy palace hand her over. Yeah, word is Yenyang took a shine to her and wants to make her his concubine. But if she's trying to cozy up to the time and space restricted area, isn't that gonna put a serious damper on Yenyang's plans? That as everyone buzzed about it, the heavenly fire spirit bird landed on a mountain near the palace. You could just make out a beautiful, slender figure standing tall in the wind, blue hair flowing. They say Mu Qingli's the hottest beauty in the western desert. Guess the rumors are true. No wonder Yenyang divine son is head over heels. Who wouldn't be smitten? Man, this could get interesting. That the Pride banquet was supposed to be starting any minute. But Kong Wudao, the host, was nowhere to be seen. A lot of the geniuses who'd shown up were starting to wonder what was going on. Had they gotten the date wrong? Then, without warning, 4 beams of light shot out from the city where the banquet was about to be held. When the light faded, Kong Xianyang, Kong Jiangyue, and 2 others who were emperors appeared. Their radiance, plus their natural air of superiority, immediately drew everyone's attention. Who are those 4? Some of Wudao divine son's lackeys. Lackeys? You have no idea. Those are all emperors from the time and space restricted area. They're second only to Wudao divine son in status, talent, and power. That got everyone stirred up again. So these 4 were big shots in the time and space restricted area, too. No wonder they felt a faint, unsettling pressure in the air as they showed up. These Kong people really know how to make an entrance. They brought 4 emperors with them to this realm, even with its special restrictions. Then Kong Jiangyue stepped forward, and her icy voice echoed, "Our master, the Wudao divine son, had an unexpected breakthrough and is temporarily in seclusion. The Pride banquet is postponed. Please be patient." What? Everyone was stunned. They were used to fancy parties and high society, but this was a first. The host just up and postpones the thing without so much as a heads up. Wasn't that, like, totally rude? The peanut gallery started grumbling. There were even some god kings and near saints in the crowd. If this blew up, Halloween City could be caught in the crossfire. What? I came all this way, and you just postpone the banquet without a word? That's a real slap in the face. One young, hot-headed holy son of the holy palace exploded. He was a big deal back home, respected by everyone, and now, he'd deigned to show up here. and the host, from the time and space restricted area, was treating them like dirt. He wasn't going to stand for it. Sure, the time and space restricted area was strong, but he was pretty sure this was all the other guy's fault. What was he gonna do, start a fight? Hearing that, Kong Jianyue's face seemed to freeze even harder. Then, to everyone's disbelief, boom. A tidal wave of power surged from her. The terrifying pressure rolled out. Kong Jianyue raised a hand, destruction swirling in her palm. Boom. Her hand crashed down, and the air screamed. Thousands of runes spun together into a huge palm print, like a mountain, slamming down on the Holy Sun. You. The Holy Sun's face went white. He tried to react, but he was too slow. His power was nothing compared to Kong Jianyue's. With a muffled bang, he was knocked out of the sky like a fly, smashing into the ground below. When the dust settled, that he was dead. Annoying. The time and space restricted area does what it wants. Who asked for your opinion? Kong Jianyue hovered in the sky, looking down. She looked at the dead Holy Sun like he was a bug, and everyone who saw it was too shocked to say a word. They were shocked that she'd killed a guest who was attending a banquet, but they were even more terrified by her strength. She was so young, but she'd already reached the virtual god realm. And that palm strike was like nothing they'd ever seen. Even an ordinary god king might not have been able to survive that. It made them think, if the emperors of the time and space restricted area were this strong, how powerful must the divine sun be? While everyone was still reeling, Kong Jianyue held up 2 fingers. Her cold voice echoed throughout the area. I'm not going to repeat myself. You have 2 choices. First, wait until the Wu Dao divine sun comes out of seclusion and the banquet is held. Second, if you don't want to wait, get lost.